Okay, part two. Larry proceeds to say to her about her mouth. Saying what you want to say is what get you what you got. And he pointed at her face. What's wrong with her face? She got beat up. Why did she get beat up? Her mouth. Always saying stuff to people she ain't got no business saying. What can be considered as hate speech. Okay? When did she get beat up? Remember I just said that Larry's son just welcomed his first child a few weeks ago, about a month ago? Well, they traveled to Montana to be there for the birth of the new grandbaby. When they were making plans to go, the son, his name is Jaden, he called his dad and told his dad he's looking forward to him coming, this, that, and the other, but Bethany needs to stay at home. Because of the way she talked to his mother at Christmas. Okay? Remember I said she said what she want to say, when she want to say it, how she want to say it, no matter how ugly it is, for no reason at all. At Christmas, his mom was there, and she had an issue with his mom coming to her house and her not knowing, having knowledge that the woman was going to come there. I'm finna say this. I'm a stepmother, and I have children of my own. If my child is at your house, if my child goes to their biological father's house, especially a holiday and they're making a special announcement, if I want to come, I should be able to come. You shouldn't feel threatened by me if you married to that person, to that man. If you married to that man, you shouldn't feel threatened that me coming to support my child in their moment of happiness on a holiday is a threat to you. If you married to him, you supposed to be able to can trust him. Okay? She further, and y'all forgive me, I'm going to say this again in this one. If I'm not looking at the camera, it's only because I got to get this set right, and I tend to look off to have a focal point when I'm talking, because it keeps my thoughts centered and keeps me from rambling. So until I can get me a tripod and get things set up properly, it's probably going to look like I'm looking everywhere but at y'all. And I'm actually looking at the camera. At the device. I really am. But it's making it look like I'm looking, all over the place. But I am looking at the camera. So, anyway, Jaden told us that he didn't want Christmas. Bethany went in the kitchen, followed Lynette in the kitchen. That's Jaden's mom, Lynette. Lynette hadn't said nothing to nobody. She greeted everybody when she came in the door, and she sat there nice and quiet. She didn't make a scene. She didn't say nothing. She got up to go and get her something to drink. And she goes in there to get herself something to drink. And Bethany got up after. She looked around and noticed wasn't nobody really paying attention. Larry was playing a game with everybody. His back was to her. And slipped her behind in that kitchen to harass Lynette. And all Lynette was doing was getting her something to drink. Bethany called that woman trash. All of this is unprovoked. Okay? If y'all just go to the Country Wayne page, either on YouTube or Facebook, put in Bethany, Lynette, Jaden, Brooke, and any of that, and it'll bring them up. Okay? If you put in all those names, it's probably gonna bring up every skit that they collectively are in, or any combination of them are in. But if you put in Larry, it'll probably pull up. If you put in Larry or Bethany, it'll probably pull up all of them. Okay, because I think it's a storyline about Bethany. She was actually came on as a part of another storyline, and she's such a good actress that they probably gave her own storyline. I'm just gonna be honest. Christy is that good of an actress. So voices elevated on Christmas because Bethany was being disrespectful. Okay. Now, so back to when Jaden told his dad that Bethany was not invited to Montana for the birth of Kenai, which is the baby's name. Bethany whined, she threw a fit, she whined, she begged, and she slipped behind Larry's back and called Jaden without Larry's knowledge to beg Jaden to let her come. Now, this is where I fought Jaden. You told your dad Bethany was not invited. Your dad did what you asked him to do, to let Bethany know she wasn't invited. When Bethany called you, you could have done one or two things. You could have hung up that phone and called your daddy right then and told him, well, you could have done one of three things, and told your daddy, Bethany just called you. You could have asked Bethany to hold on. You could have made a three-way call and connected your daddy on that call. Or you could have stood 10 toes down. No, Bethany, I don't want you here. I can't trust that you are not going to throw little jugs at my mom or throw little jugs at Kaylee or Kaylee's parents. I can't trust that. So no, you can't come. No. And the answer is no. Is a complete sentence. It's a one word, but it's also a complete sentence. Don't nobody owe you an explanation when they tell you ask, can something happen, and they tell you no. That's it. That's all. Period. Nobody had to explain that to you. So she just kept whining and worked on the fake tears to work. See, that's that white privilege. If I can't, when I ask you for something, I can't get my way, I'm either going to bully you by, or I'm going to, but I mean, my heart is in the right place. And I really wish I could whine to get everything I want. I'm not lying. I wish I could be like, oh, but I really need it. Oh, so that somebody can give me what I want. Because I ain't never been able to do that. So I'm salty. Because how she get to do it and people that really have a need to be somewhere can't get it done. Okay? And so anyway, Jaden punked up and said, okay, as long as she's on her best behavior. So then his mom, well, he calls his dad, he tells his dad, and then he told his dad, he said, well, Dad, I really don't. Larry asked him, well, what do you want, son? He said, I really don't want her to come. I'm beginning to think maybe Dad, you should stay home too. But you didn't tell your dad to stay home. You told your mom. Your mom went over and had a talk with Bethany and explained to Bethany if she came up to Montana with that bull mess, what would happen. And she told her, if you come up there with the way you are, jugging and all that kind of stuff, starting that mess, you're not coming back to Georgia the same way you left. That's what she told her. She point blank told her, if you come up there with this, you're not going to leave Montana the same. This is what she told her. So Lynette she issued a warning, not a threat. The difference between a threat and a warning is telling you something will happen if. A threat is somebody telling you something gonna happen without you doing anything. It's just like with our kids. We tell them, if you keep doing it, I'm gonna whoop your butt. That is a warning. That is a warning. We tell our young people, if you go in that store and steal, you're gonna go to jail. Now, is that a threat or a warning? No, that's a warning, because that's what's gonna happen. We're not saying if you go in that store, you're gonna go to jail. That's a threat. Because at that point, what reason do you have to tell them that they're going to jail for going in a store? What reason do you have to tell them? You don't have any reason to tell them they're going to jail just because they stepped in a store. But if they step in that store and they steal something, they get something they don't pay for, and they walk out the store with it, yes, then they need to go to jail. That is a warning. That is not a threat. Okay? So what she was told, if you come to Montana with this mess, you're not going to leave the same way. Now, what mess? Making little sly statements, being manipulative, lying, playing the victim, and dropping racial slurs, all of which she did. There was a scene where they all sitting there in the living room laughing and talking. Uh, Lynette and Kaylee's mom, which is Jaden's baby's mom, they're sitting there talking, and they're sharing childhood stories about Jaden and Kaylee. With them growing up, they're sharing their motherhood stories with everybody. Well, the baby starts to move. So Kaylee said, "Oh, he's moving." And then she says to Brooke, the 17-year-old, she said, "Brooke, you want to come? You said you want to feel it move. You come on." And she let Brooke feel the baby move. Well, Bethany, the camera shoots over to Bethany, and Bethany is visibly upset. Why is she upset? She's upset because no attention is on her, and she was not invited to touch the belly. But she also didn't give Kaylee time to invite her over to touch the belly. Also, she doesn't feel that Brooke should have been allowed to touch the belly, especially not before her. She treats Brooke like she's 10 years old. Brooke is 17. She runs out the room crying and made sure they knew she was crying. After a few minutes, everybody's sitting there. She all right? She all right? Somebody should go check on her. So finally, Larry gets up and he goes in the bathroom or wherever it was, whatever room that was. She went in. He goes in there and they come back out and she's standing there. And Lynette asked her, "Bethany, are you okay? You wasn't trying to get attention, were you? Are you okay?" Now, throughout all of this, there have been conversations about why Bethany has never had a baby for Larry. And she's always said, that's none of your business, this, that, and the other, All of a sudden now, she can say she didn't know she was going to be triggered, and they never got a chance to have to feel the baby move because they had gotten pregnant, and she was 10 weeks along, and then she had a miscarriage. She's such a liar. Nobody believes her. Okay? Lord, my time is just moving, moving, moving. Gosh. Anyway, so she gets to so she gets sympathy from that. So that, in other words, she drew the attention from Kaylee to herself. Because she's got to make everything about her. That was not about her. It didn't need to be about her. They were there for Kaylee and Jaden. All the attention should have been on who? Kaylin and Jaden. Okay? The next day, well, let me back up. Yeah, the next day, she overhears Lynette and Larry having a conversation. Larry is getting on Lynette. They're having a disagreement because Lynette had talked to Jaden about what's next for him and Kaylee. Don't he think they need to get married now that they're having a baby? He felt some kind of way about it, so he talked to his dad. His dad said, "Well, yeah, you should be looking at marrying her, but do that in your time." So when Larry's talking to Lynette, he's telling Lynette she wrong. Don't try to force it. Let him make up his own mind. Both parents are right, and at the end of the day, both parents are right. Okay, Bethany eavesdropped. And so, first chance she got to catch Jaden without either of his parents nearby, she starts talking to him about him marrying Kaylee needs to be something he decides to do in his own time. Don't let nobody rush you into it. That was not her place. Y'all can say what you want to say in the comment. It was not Bethany's place to say anything to Jaden about what his mom and his dad had already talked to him about it. They done said what they had to say. There will be a part 3. I'm at the 15-minute mark. I got to cut it short. I'll pick it up later.